I'm Eli Argerbright. I'm 15. I'm interviewing M. Night Shyamalan for Movie Phone over his new movie, The Last Airbender. In the beginning of the movie, The Last Airbender, it seemed kind of like there was a few homages to Star Wars.
Yeah.
Was that accidental or was it a deliberate choice?
No, I think that the creators Mike and Brian were definitely very much influenced by Star Wars. I mean, we kind of all grew up. Mike, Brian, and I kind of grew up. That was the movie that changed all of us. I can't imagine it wouldn't have been a huge influence in terms of in the genetics of what they were creating. That there was definitely the Han Solo character, the Yoda character, and there was all archetypes there. And so that was definitely on our minds, and it was interesting because we finished the movie at Skywalker Ranch at George Lucas's place. So that's where I finished the movie. So it felt like full circle.
In the cartoon, in the very last big fight scene in the water village,
yes,
there was the big water creature.
Yes, yes.
Why did you choose to put in a tidal wave instead of the creature?
Well, I wanted it to be not about him kicking butt at the end of the movie. That can't be what he learned. To get strong enough to kick butt is the lesson. And so for me, I wanted it to be more about the symbolic gesture of how powerful water is, and that he could if he wanted to, but he's not going to. That kind of gesture, and I think that there was a little bit of that in the Miyazaki type ending that they had in the show. That brings me to another interesting point: is that Mike and Brian were really heavily influenced by a film called Princess Mononoke for the ending of the show. So basically, they borrowed from a movie and then made their TV show. So then I can't make it back into a movie again, right? Because then I'd be like just stealing from another movie. So I took the idea of what he was going to do and made it more symbolic.
I read that you found Ong's
audition?
Yeah, online. It was an online audition.
Yeah.
How did you do that?
It's crazy. It was just crazy because they did it kind of not as a lark, but as kind of like a side thing. They put on the Paramount website, hey, open auditions for the characters, send whatever you want in. And I really didn't think anything would come of it. And one of them was Noah, and Noah had done an amazing audition. And I was like, well, that's really interesting, but I'm not going to cast him, but I'll bring him in. And I brought him in to act against the other professional kid actors, and he just had a quality about him that was important for me, for the character, and he was a martial arts expert. So rather than faking the martial arts with a kid actor, I decided to teach a kid how to act who was a martial arts expert.
Wow. You also had a Twilight star, Jackson Rathbone, and Dev Patel, who are both favorites with girls.
Yes.
Did you have any fan craziness while you were shooting the movie?
We did. We're pretty isolated where we shot. We shot in Greenland, so there's not a lot of big fans out in glaciers coming out to stop us from shooting. But and even in Philly when we were doing the interiors, we're like way deep. No one even knew where we were shooting. We had always fake names for where we were going and what we were shooting, and made it look like an aspirin ad or something like. No one would know what we were shooting. But it's still, even occasionally there would be some fans that would be waiting at some barricade somewhere, and so it was fun for them.
You said you were shooting in Greenland?
Yeah.
This was your first time not shooting in Pennsylvania?
Well, actually, my very first film that I shot when I was 21 was in India, and then this would be, and I shot a little bit of The Happening in Paris. Very light touches here, but this was like a serious shoot in Greenland, and so yeah, it was really different for me.
Did you like shooting outside?
I loved it. It was really exciting for me. I wouldn't want to do the whole movie outside. I like the home base part of it. I can think clear because when you shoot a movie, it just you get tired. And I'm talking about mentally tired, and you start to get sloppy. And it would be just like asking an athlete to constantly be doing his sport. You're gonna get tired and sloppy, and that same thing goes. And it's important to kind of have your pattern, and you recharge, and you sleep in your own bed. And I can be, on the first day and the 20th day and the 50th day and the 75th day, I could try to be as sharp as I was on my best day.
Were you at all bummed out when James Cameron used the title Avatar for his movie?
For 2 seconds, I didn't know what was going on. I was like, what? And then I understood. I talked to Fox, and I was making a movie with Fox, so it was really easy to find out what the deal was. And he had the name from a long time ago, and so it was way before the show was made, so it made a lot of sense. And we were like, anyway, we have another title right in the title, so we'll just use the other part of the title.
How many movies do you plan on doing for the Airbender series?
It's my hope is to make 3. You know, he has to master water in this one, and then earth, and then fire before it's too late.
If you were a bender, what element would you be?
Definitely air. I like to kind of first of all, air is everywhere, so I can use the element all the time. And there's something poetic about it that you can't see it, and it kind of can move things.
Which of your own movies is your favorite, and why?
I don't know. That changes. Well, not daily, but it changes. My 3 favorites are Unbreakable, The Village, and Lady in the Water. Those are my 3 favorites. This is getting up there. I'm too close to it right now to evaluate this one, but I mean this one could be my favorite.
A lot of good movies have been made from graphic novels. And a lot of your movies seem like they would be good graphic novels.
Yeah.
Have you thought of doing any of that?
Well, they did do kind of graphic novels of Airbender. I don't know if you've seen those.
No.
They're really cool. Really cool. We spent a lot of time on them. We did one of the movie, and we did a prequel of Zuko, a graphic novel. But yeah, no, I've been asked to actually do all the movies in graphic novel form. And if I can just get some time to think it through and meet with people, I want to consider that. I really like that form a lot.
What are you planning for your next movie?
Well, I'm for the first time I can say I'm not 100% sure what I'm shooting next. I think I'm trying to do a supernatural thriller next, but I have if I'm lucky enough to make the second one of these, a certain timetable with these kids. I don't want them to grow up and be as big as you when I turn around, because then it'll be tricky. I don't mind them growing over the series. Absolutely, I want them to grow and become young. The last, in the third movie, I want Noah to be like ripped and like a warrior. I would love that. I want Nicola to be this beautiful woman, and that would be to watch them grow up and take the mantle is what I'm hoping. But that creates a certain timetable, so I just have to figure it out. I mean, once I'm done this tour, I'm going to just sit down and just figure this out.
Do you plan on using more CGI in your next Airbender movies than you did in this one?
Probably a little bit more now that I have a handle on it. I probably can be more efficient with what I need in advance. And there's more creatures in the second movie. There's a lot more creatures. Really cool one, that Azula and her. Azula is the villain in the second one, and they have these lizards that walk on water. They stand up and walk on water. It's really cool stuff. So I'm excited about the creatures in the second one.
How was the cast when you were filming?
Oh, they were just, they're all like family. I was just having lunch with them just now, and yeah, I mean, it's just great emotion from everybody. We're all very close. All our families are close, and you'll come over to my house, and they'll be like, the Avatar will be in the pantry eating cookies, and they just, because my kids are friends with them, so they all text and come over and all that stuff. So it would be like, it's odd. It's not like I come home and find Denzel Washington in the pantry. But you may find one of these guys in the pantry.
Okay.
Cool. Well, thanks, man. That was fun.
Thanks. I love meeting you.
Oh, thanks, buddy.